The air hung heavy with incense, a familiar scent that usually brought comfort and a sense of the divine. But today, it mingled with something far more sinister. The metallic scent of blood now permeated the sanctuary, creating a stark contrast to the holy atmosphere that once enveloped this sacred space. The once pristine floors were now stained with the evidence of violence, a grim reminder of the fragility of peace. It was supposed to be a place of solace, of prayer, of peace. The First Evangelical Lutheran Church had long been a sanctuary for the townspeople of Readers, Pennsylvania. Sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows would cast colorful patterns on the floor, creating an atmosphere of tranquility and reverence. Now, this sacred place was a crime scene. Yellow police tape cordoned off the area, and the flashing lights of police cars disrupted the usual calm of the small town. The community was in shock, struggling to comprehend the violence that had shattered their sanctuary. A man lay dead, a single bullet wound marring his forehead, his life extinguished amidst the hymns and sermons. The white sheet covering his body was a stark contrast to the vibrant colors of the church's interior, a somber reminder of the life that had been lost. The victim was Joseph Musante, a man of faith, a devoted husband, and a beloved member of the community. He was known for his kindness and his unwavering dedication to his family and his faith. His death left a void that would be felt by many. His death was a shocking mystery. The townspeople were left reeling, their sense of security shattered. Police investigators were puzzled, trying to piece together the events that led to this tragic incident. The questions were many, but answers were few. How could such a heinous act occur in a place meant for peace and worship? Who could have committed such a crime, and why? The investigation was just beginning, and the community could only hope for justice and healing in the days to come. Joe Musante was a man of routine. Every morning he would rise at the crack of dawn, make himself a cup of coffee, and read the newspaper. His life was a series of well-practiced habits, each day blending seamlessly into the next. Joe found comfort in the predictability of his schedule, a stark contrast to the chaos of the world outside. Every Sunday, he attended service with his wife, Betty. They were a familiar sight at St. Mark's Church, always sitting in the same pew, exchanging pleasantries with fellow parishioners. Their faith was a cornerstone of their lives, providing a sense of community and belonging. On that fateful morning, July 15, 2008, Joe was alone. The church felt different without Betty by his side. The empty space next to him was a stark reminder of her absence. He tried to focus on the sermon, but his mind kept drifting back to her. Betty, recovering from surgery, stayed home. She had undergone a minor procedure a few days earlier and was still too weak to attend the service. Joe had been by her side throughout her recovery, ensuring she had everything she needed. Joe, ever the dutiful husband, promised to hurry back. He kissed her on the forehead, reassured her that he would be back soon, and left the house with a sense of purpose. He had a list of chores to complete and errands to run, but his mind was preoccupied with thoughts of Betty. He had chores to do, errands to run, the grocery store, the pharmacy, and a quick stop at the post office were all on his list. Joe was a man who took pride in his responsibilities, always ensuring that everything was in order. He never made it home. Hours passed and Betty's concern grew. She called his cell phone repeatedly, but there was no answer. The silence was deafening and a sense of dread began to settle in. Found at the foot of the church stairs, Joe's body offered few clues. The scene was eerily quiet, with only the distant sound of sirens breaking the stillness. The police arrived quickly, cordoning off the area and beginning their investigation. Robbery seemed unlikely. His wallet remained untouched, the contents were intact, and there were no signs of a struggle. The mystery of Joe Musante's death left the community in shock, and questions lingered in the air, unanswered. The news of Joe Musante's death rippled through the small community. Grief soon gave way to suspicion. Joe's fall seemed off. The police, initially leaning towards an accident, began to have their doubts. The angle, the lack of other injuries, the single gunshot, it all pointed towards something more sinister. Arthur Schirmer, the church's pastor, was the one who discovered Joe's body. It was a quiet morning when Arthur, known for his calm demeanor and dedication to his congregation, stumbled upon the shocking scene. Joe lay motionless at the bottom of the stairs, a sight that would unsettle anyone, let alone a man of faith. He told police he found Joe at the bottom of the stairs, called 911, and reported the incident with a voice that was surprisingly steady. Arthur's call to emergency services was detailed, almost methodical, as if he had rehearsed it in his mind before dialing. He described Joe's position, the apparent injuries, and the urgency of the situation, and even used a vacuum cleaner to clean up what he thought was vomit near Joe's head. This action, however, raised eyebrows. Why would someone, especially a pastor, think to clean up at such a critical moment? Arthur later explained that he wanted to maintain the dignity of the church to keep it clean and presentable, even in the face of tragedy. The police found Schirmer's actions strange, unsettling. They couldn't understand why he would prioritize cleaning over preserving the scene for investigation. The officers exchanged glances, their training telling them that something was off. They had seen many crime scenes, but this one felt different, manipulated. Why clean a potential crime scene? The forensic experts were baffled. Cleaning could destroy crucial evidence, making it harder to determine what had happened. They meticulously examined the area, looking for any signs that could explain Joe's fall. Every detail mattered, and the vacuuming had potentially erased important clues. Why vacuum of all things? Their suspicions grew. The detectives began to question Arthur's motives. Was he trying to hide something? Was this an attempt to cover up a crime? They scrutinized his every word, his every action, looking for inconsistencies. Arthur's calmness, which initially seemed like composure, now felt like cold calculation. This was no ordinary fall. This was murder. The evidence, though sparse, pointed to foul play. The police cordoned off the area, marking it as a crime scene. The once peaceful church was now the center of a murder investigation, and Arthur Schirmer, the trusted pastor, was at the heart of it all. The community was in shock, struggling to reconcile the image of their beloved pastor with the grim reality unfolding before them. As investigators delved into Arthur Schirmer's past, a chilling discovery unfolded. Schirmer's first wife, Jewel, had died in 1999 under what he claimed were accidental circumstances. She had supposedly fallen down the stairs in their home, suffering a fatal head injury. The similarities to Joe Musante's death were too eerie to ignore. With growing suspicion, authorities exhumed Jewel Schirmer's body. The autopsy revealed a horrifying truth. Jewel had not died from a simple fall. Evidence suggested she had been struck in the head with a blunt object before her fall, just like Joe Musante. The pieces of a terrifying puzzle were falling into place. The investigation into Arthur Schirmer intensified. They uncovered affairs, financial misdeeds, and a web of lies spun by the seemingly pious pastor. Schirmer, it turned out, was leading a double life. The veneer of respectability crumbled, revealing a man capable of shocking violence and chilling deception. In 2013, 5 years after Joe Musante's death, Arthur Schirmer was brought to trial. The evidence was damning: the suspicious deaths, the inconsistencies in his stories, the echoes of violence that reverberated through his life. The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Joe Musante and third-degree murder in the death of Jewel Schirmer. Justice, though delayed, was served. Arthur Schirmer remains incarcerated, his secrets buried with him. But questions linger. Why? Why these women? Why this charade? The small town of Readers, forever marked by the crimes of its former pastor, struggles to heal. The sanctuary, once a place of peace, now stands as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface.